Hi, it's Martin from Private Agenda. This week I got something quite exciting in the post. This is the test pressing from our upcoming release on New Northern Soul. The record's called Dusk Dawn, and this particular test pressing was done at Prime Direct Limited, so they sent us this before the actual run starts so that we can take a listen and make sure that everything is good on the record. Very nice. First of all, a little bit about how this record came to be. The label got in touch with Sean and I about a year ago. It was January 2016. Pretty cold in the winter, short days, not very much sunshine, and at the time Sean and I were working in this basement studio, not very far from where we are now, but only had tiny windows and a piano and a couple of rooms. But before we started writing any music, we wanted to have a really clear idea of the mood and the theme of what we were going to be writing. We decided to try writing some nocturnes. Me and Sean always work really early in the mornings when we were writing music, so it was just as the sun was coming up when we had finished recording the piano for this track. And we had a bunch of recordings which were dusty and with breathing on them, and you could hear the hammers of the keys, but this was kind of what we were going for. So we took these recordings, came out into the cold sunshine on that January morning, and came back to this studio here in my bedroom and put all of the synth parts and the vocal parts on the tracks. Something that Sean and I have been quite interested in is fusing a sort of avant-garde sensibility when it comes to concept and atmosphere, but without losing that really strong sense of melody that we put into all of our music. One particular reference for this track is Talk Talk's I Believe in You. Now, we were also trying to channel quite a melancholic feeling with both sides of this record. I remember one album that we were listening to at the time is Jürgen Müller's Science of the Sea. Now, this is a very strange record, supposedly written by an oceanic scientist with no musical training on his houseboat. But I recommend that you look that one up on Google yourself because it's quite an interesting backstory. But anyway, let's get back to the track. The piece starts off with this slowly evolving melodic line on the synth. These arpeggios sort of lead the dynamics and underlying structure for the whole rest of the track. We wanted to evoke this really gradually changing feeling, a little bit like the imperceivable changing colour of the sky in the morning and the gradual creep of the light as it changes. So to do this, we decided to compose a sort of musical illusion with these arpeggios. So here's the arpeggio we started with. In the first half of this pattern, the pattern is generally rising as it goes up to the top. And then in the second half here, it's using the same notes but coming down the other way, it's descending. The effect of this arpeggio was nice, especially as it has these kind of uneven groups which don't always line up with each other, but it didn't have quite the mind-bending washing effect that we were really looking for. Luckily, because of this symmetry, we could use a little trick. Copying the pattern again, exactly the same, and just offsetting the beginning of it, so basically changing the phase of the track, meant that both of these patterns are sort of running in contrary motion to each other here. When one pattern is rising, the other is often descending in the opposite direction. Now together they sound quite magical. This was much closer to the effect we were going for with the song. And this is basically how we made the arpeggios. So these floaty synth stabs on top, all of those sounds came from the Roland SH-101, this synthesizer. So it was just a sawtooth wave with the octave below. And then the release time, nice and high. Then that just goes straight into the Boss RV5 reverb pedal, set to modulate, which is Sean's forever favourite setting. Sounds really great. And after the reverb pedal, into the delay pedal, which is in this case the DD7. Now when I'm playing it, I've always got one hand on the keyboard and one hand on the filter knob here, just to help shape all of the phrases like this. And all that there was really left to add was Sean's vocals.
I watch you wait, lay in our tangled embrace. When will we meet again? Dreams that I couldn't shake, love that life couldn't break.
Hi there, Sean here from Private Agenda. Thank you very much for listening. Big shout out to Phil Cooper at New Northern Soul. Dusk Dawn is released on the 4th December on 12-inch vinyl, and you can pre-order it at New Northern Soul's Bandcamp, the link below. Subscribe to our channel to check out more exclusive content from us, and hopefully we'll catch you at a show soon. Bye.